1 week, part 2, the power shift. The restaurant was quiet after Mark walked out. Sara sat alone at the table, a cold, mocking smile playing on her lips. She didn't look like a woman who had just been given an ultimatum. She looked like someone watching a child throw a tantrum. She leaned back, let out a sharp, jagged laugh and whispered to the empty chair. "Sara, end it? Please. He doesn't have the guts. He'll be calling me by tonight, crying, begging for an apology." But the night came and the phone stayed silent. Day 1 passed. Sara sat in a high-end salon, her fingers spread for a manicure. Every few minutes, she glanced at her screen. Usually by this hour, her notifications would be flooded with 20 missed calls and a dozen "I'm sorry" texts. Today? Nothing. She tapped her nails impatiently against the glass, her confidence beginning to itch with annoyance. Day 2. Sara was at a crowded party, music thumping and laughter filling the room. She held a drink in one hand and her phone in the other. She checked the signal. She checked her blocked list. Still there was nothing from Mark. Her brow furrowed, but she shook it off, forcing a laugh with her friends. By day 3 the silence was no longer a game, it was a challenge. She decided to break it, but not with an apology. She sent a single, commanding text. "My car needs a wash. Come pick it up at 8 a.m. She watched the screen. The read receipt appeared almost instantly. Her heart jumped, she expected the typing bubbles to appear. But they didn't. He had seen it and he had ignored it. For the first time in 3 years, the look on Sara's face wasn't arrogance. It was genuine confusion. Day 5 arrived and the silence was finally broken by a chance encounter. Sara was stepping out of a luxury boutique, bags in hand, when she spotted him across the street. Mark was at a small outdoor cafe, but he wasn't alone. He was sitting with the very waitress Sara had insulted just days before. He looked relaxed. The heavy, baby-like dependence was gone from his shoulders. He looked like a man who had finally found his breath. Sara's heels clicked like gunfire against the pavement as she marched across the street. "Sara, so, this is why you're acting brave? Playing hero for a waitress?" Mark didn't even stand up. He looked up at her with a calm, steady gaze. "Mark, hello Sara. You still have 2 days left. Sara, stop this pathetic game. You're coming with me right now. I have a dinner gala tonight and you're driving." Mark, checking his watch. "I'm busy, Sara. And I don't take orders anymore." 2 days later. Day 7. The final hour. Sara was at home, dressed in her most expensive gown, looking every bit the queen she imagined herself to be. But she was pacing the floor. Her ego was screaming, but her fear was louder. She realized she wasn't just losing a boyfriend, she was losing her servant. She drove to Mark's house and burst through the front door without knocking. "Sara, fine. You want an answer? Here is your answer. I'll marry you. But on my terms. No kids for 10 years, we live exactly where I want and you never, ever, question my authority again. Are you happy now?" Mark was standing by the window, a packed suitcase resting by his feet. He turned around and his eyes were hollow. "Mark, you're late, Sara." "Sara, late? I'm right here." I said yes. "Mark, I gave you a week to change your heart. You spent the week trying to change my mind. You didn't even ask how I was. You didn't apologize to that girl at the restaurant. You just gave me a yes. That sounds like a death sentence." Mark reached down and gripped the handle of his suitcase. He started toward the door. "Sara," screaming, "where do you think you're going? You love me. You said you'd never leave." "Mark," softly, "I do love you. That's the problem. But my parents were right, they want to see me happy. And for the first time in 3 years, I realized that happy is a place where you don't exist." Mark walked out, closing the door softly behind him. Sara stood frozen, her reflection staring back at her from a nearby mirror. In her expensive dress and her perfectly styled hair, she realized she didn't look like a queen at all. She looked completely, utterly alone. Is this the end? Or should he give her one more chance? Let us know in the comments below.